Hello, my beautiful buds. Welcome back to my channel, Sprouts with Joy. My name is Joy, and if you like to talk about plants, you're in the right place. So today I have a bit of a project in front of me, and that is cleaning out my propagation boxes because, you know what, I just decided that I wanted a fresh start for the new year with my prop boxes. They're kind of a mess, and I have like a lot of old sphagnum moss. I have a lot of propagations just sprawling about, and I also want to evaluate where they're at and probably put them into individual containers so that it's easier to give them away to people or pot them up whenever they're ready, that sort of thing. So that is what we're going to do today. So first of all, I want to boil my sphagnum moss and my perlite. I think I'm going to actually combine my moss and perlite into one mass, because I've propagated with like a moss and perlite mix before and actually really liked the texture of it. So I think I'm going to continue to do that and just make it simpler for myself and mix them all together in one boiling pot of water. So yeah, if you're interested in joining me on that little journey, let's go for it. Are the boxes in question? So some of them have perlite or sphagnum moss like directly in the containers, and some of them just have, you know, either propagations or acclimating plants in there. So I already filled this pot full of water, so I'm just gonna start boiling it, and I think I'll probably just start adding things, pulling plants out as I go. Oh, that's a good call. I think I need to have like a place to put the plants. Sorry, this little boy was getting fussy. So the first thing I have to do is get the plants out of the prop boxes, and I'll probably just kind of spread them all out here, and I'll, I guess, pot them up or like put them in their own individual containers at the end of this. But that's what I gotta do for now, as soon as this guy chills out a little bit. So in these, I think I just have some Syndapsis. And actually this moss right here, I think I'm going to preserve because it came back alive. So I'll probably keep this moss and set it aside. Maybe if I make a terrarium one day or something like that. And if you hear some weirdness in the background, that is just the water that's starting to boil. Honestly, like, these started off as wet sticks, so I think that they're Syndapsis pictus argyrius is my guess, but they really aren't even that rooted. They just kind of grew off of the wet sticks, so it's kind of funny, but I'm just picking them out. They're just really baby Syndapsis pictus argyrius. They're so cute. These guys have been in here for probably almost a year is my guess, which is kind of nuts. And this is a random, I think it's just a pothos enjoy. It's so tiny. I may or may not keep that, we'll see. But yeah, the rest of this is like live sphagnum moss, so I'm actually gonna preserve this and set it aside for another day when I make a terrarium. Okay, and here is more Syndapsis. I think it's Syndapsis trubii moonlight for the most part in perlite. Yeah. So there's Syndapsis trubii moonlight with some browning because of the humidity. And then I think this is Silvery Ann. So I have no idea. Yeah, there's like a decent root on there. So I'll set those right there. Let's see. A lot of this, I just kind of forgot what I had propagating. I just threw them in here a really long time ago. So it'll be kind of fun to see if they do anything. Yeah, these are like wet sticks. I may or may not keep them because they've been in here for such a long time. I don't know that I need them necessarily. Let's see. Oh yeah, this is just Syndapsis pictus argyrius. It's a cute little box. And by the way, I was just using, if you couldn't tell, these are just like to-go containers, like old to-go containers, which if you are new to propagating, it may be worthwhile to collect these because they're really nice for propping things. Okay. Okay, so I can make, honestly, with these, they're fairly well rooted, so I'll probably just make a little pot of them. I've made so many pots of these guys and given them away to friends and stuff like that because, you know, they're a fun plant. They're very interesting. Most people probably actually haven't really seen them versus like with the pothos. I've noticed like a lot of people kind of know what a pothos is, even if they call it devil's ivy or something like that. Like they are familiar with it. But the Syndapsis, you know, obviously like people do tend to assume that it's just a different kind of pothos because of the common name of a silver satin pothos. So they might assume that, but yeah, I just feel like it's a little bit more special than a pothos, like a run-of-the-mill pothos to give someone. So, and they're also relatively easy, at least in my experience. So this is a little bit more exciting. This is a perlite propagation box that I've had going for, a long time. I've just kind of thrown different things in here at different points in time. So we'll pull them out, organize them, see how they're doing, and then probably put them in their own containers and such. So first up is Silver Sword, and it's got a couple of little roots there, and it looks like it's grown a new leaf as well, has some new growth. I think this was a top cut. More Philodendron Silver Sword. Really, really pretty. Oh. Very nice. I'm gonna start setting these a little bit farther away. Okay. All right, looks like this leaf is dying off and this little chunk here is starting to rot. So I'm gonna set that aside. I may or may not try to preserve the wet stick there. You good, bud? It sounds like my baby's having some acid reflux issues. Woof. Alright, looks like this guy also did not root. This is just Philodendron brantianum. I don't know, I may try again. I have got a lot of Silver Sword in here. I'm so excited to pot these up. I think they're just about ready probably. So, I don't know, I may put them all together in like that moss and perlite mixture I was talking about, just for a little bit longer. But pretty soon here, I definitely want to pot them up because they've got some new growth right there. There's a little tiny baby leaf. And I'll probably try to put it on a plank right off the bat. I don't know. It looks like this grew from a wet stick, actually. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't remember. So just pulling out all the Silver Sword. Oh my gosh, there's so much of it, guys. There's a lot to go through here. Sounds like my husband is home. Hello.
Hello.
Ooh, okay, this is Mandula pothos. I want to put this up. I want to get it to climb and get really big leaves and possibly fenestrations if it'll do that. Because Epipremnum tends to do that. And I love Mandula pothos, so I think it'll be really nice. Okay, here is the Monstera Peru that is still not rooted. It still looks alive, but it is not rooting for me, which is a very common issue, I think. Okay, here is some Painted Lady. It just has a little bit of a root there. Nothing insane. Look at that variegation though. It's so pretty. It's really just more bright yellow, I think, as it gets so much light, probably. But I already potted up like my own personal Painted Lady plant, but I'll probably like give this away or trade it off or something one of these days. Okay. Ooh, look at the roots on that. Silver Sword, okay. You go. Alright, this Brantianum cutting seems to be doing well. Very nice. Oh my gosh. This has been in here for such a long time. It's just a lemon lime philodendron, like the trailing kind. Look at, this has literally been in here for probably at least a year. It has to have been maybe like 9 months, but dude. Here's another one. Oh. There we go. Look at you, dude. Well done. Ooh. Silver sword. We're nearing the end here. Oh, looks like this guy is rotting. It's too bad. Whoop! Hi, mister. What's up with you? You're getting perlite all over your face, bud. I don't know if it's worth trying to save it because I have so many other cuttings. It's like so close to the node. Okay. It's okay. You won't always find success with all of them. Oh, wow. Okay, these were like little tiny baby leaves. I forgot to put these in there. They're from my Syngonium erythrophyllum. Alright, well, that's all the ones in my perlite prop box. Okay, we're just gonna start this process. I'm probably gonna have to do multiple batches, but if you're wondering like why the heck are you boiling this, I want to get rid of like any bacteria and really thoroughly clean it. I think it's good to have a fresh start probably. Some old cups of sphagnum moss. I'm just boiling this and stirring it periodically. It's kind of a gross looking soup of perlite and moss. And I'll probably do several batches of this. So just assume any of the perlite and moss that I pull out and separate from the plants will go into a vat of boiling water. Okay, so this is just my sphagnum moss prop box. Again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to pull out a bunch of the stuff that's in here. This is like an old Micans propagation. This one I don't think is going to make it. This Monstera Peru started to root, but it stopped and started rotting instead. Oh well. Okay. Same story. So this is Tradescantia and Nanook. They're like so pitiful. I don't know if I really want to keep them. These cuttings just are not great, so I don't know. I'm undecided. Like they're just, they're so leggy and not good. Ugh. Oh, here's a random silver sword. Oh, we have some little wet stick babies here. This was a wet stick silver sword. And we've got our mass of Begonia maculata. Alright, and then aside from all of these guys, I just want to show you what's in my propagation bins already. So I probably won't like do much with these guys because they're already in independent containers. But I do want to just clean out the bins because they've got some like water and algae growth and like stuff on the bottom. So I just want to wash them out. But this is what's in them. I have this Syngonium confetti tricolor that really needs to be potted up soon. And I've got Syngonium erythrophyllum cuttings that also need to be potted up with like the mother plant. And I don't know if I've ever showed you guys this. These are some Syndapsis jade satin, I think, cuttings that I got from a plant store for just like $1. So I am embarking on the very long journey of rooting these guys and hoping to make it into a full plant someday. And then right here is one of my painted ladies. This was technically the butt cut, so it still had all the original roots and this original leaf. And this is the new leaf that it's come out with. So I'm going to clean out this bin. And my daughter has woken from her nap. Hello, baby girl. I just have two Hoya that I recently purchased. Hoya elliptica and Hoya Morillii. What's up, baby? This is just my Hoya compacta variegata. I might transfer this to some different situation, but I don't know. We'll see. I apologize for the horrible clicking in the background because I just turned on the swing in hopes that my child will stop fussing. And the last two plants I have just sitting in a box. So this is Cissus discolor. It's very well rooted and just kind of coming out the pot. This is just a tiny baby Monstera siltepecana. All right, don't be like me and leave these poor plants out bare root for like several hours because a lot of them are visibly wilting, which is really sad. But my daughter woke up from her nap. There was a lot of chaos going on, and I decided to wait until I put her down for bedtime. So then I did that. But then my other child, my infant, started being really fussy for several hours. So it's been a lot longer than I thought it would be. So I'm gonna hurry up and try to get these guys back into a medium, and hopefully there aren't too many casualties. I don't think it should be that bad, but they're definitely unhappy. So this is the mixture right here of sphagnum moss and perlite that I boiled, and I just threw it all together. It's pretty damp, but since I strained it, like, it's not sopping wet or anything like that, I'm just gonna get started and put these plants into little containers. I am really excited to get this Mandula pothos onto some sort of a plank situation, just because I think it'll be super cool. I do have one that's hanging behind me. You can't see it in the frame out thing, but I feel like it hasn't been like incredibly abundantly happy, and it's been growing pretty slowly. It's not being very pampered, but it's a situation which I would guess that most of my epipremnums would be fine with, because they're just generally hardier and more tolerant of various circumstances. But this guy, I think, might be my fussiest one by comparison. So I don't know. Okay, so this guy, yeah, I feel bad. You can tell he's all floppy and wilty. But I've also found that this pothos is a bit more dramatic. Kind of like my neon pothos. That one's also kind of dramatic. So hopefully he recovers just fine. And each of these, I'm gonna put a little bit of splash of this solution. I put a few drops of plant food in it, which is literally called liquid plant food. It's bonide, whatever. And it's just nutrients, essentially, that you can mix with water. So you could use it, I guess, to fertilize your plants in theory. I usually use an organic fertilizer that's just kind of like it's not a powder, but it's kind of like very, very fine dirt is, a way that you can describe it. And that works well for my soil house plants, but any plants that I have growing in water or like propagations, and like sphagnum moss or perlite propagations, I like to use this just to give a little bit of a boost, especially if they're kind of living in that circumstance long term. They're fine without the nutrients for quite a long while. They can last. I'd say they definitely prefer having some sustenance. So I will just repeat this process. Let's see, I don't know if I can fit like all of these silver swords in here. Okay, gosh, guys, the air is so dry. Like normally these would be fine, but the humidity in my house, we've had some really cold days, so the heat has been blasting, and the humidity in my house typically will sit at around 40 to 50% without a humidifier or anything. But recently it has been down to like 25% ambient humidity. It's awful. I feel so bad for my plants. I don't like how I feel, so I've got my humidifiers running on all cylinders, but like they can only do so much, They can't really influence my entire home. So I can't. How many there are right there. Do you guys have any like plant specific goals or like aspirations in the new year? I would love to hear about them. As for me, there's a few things I want to try. I would love to make it a goal to like make some sort of a terrarium or like closed growing situation. I don't know for sure like how intense it would be. I would probably start with a much smaller terrarium and then, might build up to something more substantial. There he is. I feel like I need to kind of expand my spaces for plants. Not that like I want to add a ton of new plants to my collection or anything this year, because realistically I should be pretty careful with adding too much too quickly. But I just feel like I need to adapt what I'm doing because my plants are growing and they're getting bigger, and I want them to be big, but I also like want them to all fit in places that will be good for them. Like I've been procrastinating like up potting some of my plants because I'm like, I like the spot that they're in right now, but I won't be able to move them. So I feel like I need to get some bigger shelves. I don't know if I want to commit to like a greenhouse cabinet situation or get more grow lights or something. I just need to figure out better solutions for places for my plants to go as they're growing. So that's sort of a goal for me. Another, I guess, loose goal that I have is I would love to get into some more unique plants or plants that are a little bit outside of my comfort zone. So for me, honestly, like anthurium are kind of outside of my comfort zone. I feel like I need to get a better growing situation for them before I can really take the plunge. Like some of them are fine, like the ones that I have, like the crystallinum and the clarinervium, I think are both fine in my collection. But if I want to get into like some of the other ones that are out there, I need to have like some more consistent humidity and better light. So I don't know, there's lots of options. The downside is they all cost money. And I'm not super keen on spending a ton of money this year. I'm trying to be a bit more prudent and save, especially because we have 2 children and not just 1. But at the same time, I love my plants. Oh my goodness. I feel pretty relieved to have that finished. Although I will say a lot of those plants looked so sad after being left out for a few hours with no sustenance. So I would not recommend that if you can avoid that. But honestly, my brain was like so full of things. I just didn't even really think about that until I sat down to film again, and I was like, well, shoot. Oh well. But I'm sure they'll be okay. They'll probably bounce back. Anyway, I think that's gonna be it for this video. I feel like we accomplished a lot together. That was a big project. So I hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you want to, feel free to like, comment, subscribe. All those things are super helpful for my channel. So yeah, I hope that you have a wonderful and blessed day. Bye-bye.